What's up, y'all? I wish my partner would want to come online and just kind of not be online, but just like allow me to record the conversation I had with him concerning his court case Monday. And these people was, you know, he had an attorney. That's what got me. He had an attorney. These people took his baby from him. They had him and his girl on charge, some type of charge on child neglect charge. You know, no evidence against him or nothing. No evidence. Just, you know how the courts like to take an accusation and make you jump through hoops in order to get shit, you know, resolved. Like they want to have you going through all these, you know, psychological, you know, all these different testing to try to see if you psychologically sound. You know, all these different classes they want you to take. You know, drug tests and all those different shit. And then they had them on supervised visitations and shit once a week. All this shit they had this man going through, him and his girl going through the same shit for a whole year and a half when it came to his child. And it was, you know, it's frustrating now. I hear people go through stuff like that, you know. Like, especially when there's no evidence at all to shut this stop, you know, for them to even be getting involved in your situation. You know, they pretend like this child is in some type of damn danger when it's not. Especially when they got supervised visitation. And it's really just supervised so that you won't take that child and haul ass. That's all that is. You know, not so you won't harm the child. They want to always maintain control of that situation because they need you to participate in that bullshit they're doing when they're fleecing you like that. Now, I brought that up to say, well, I'm going to give you the conclusion, but I got a reason why I'm bringing it back up again. So he was in court. Before he went to court, he was texting with his attorney. Basically, and it take him to explain it. He explained with better details than I do. I didn't have enough of details when I brought it up in my last video. But I have the full detail now, but he still explains. It's better to hear from the horse's mouth. That's why I want him to explain it. Because he explained it exactly like it was done. You know, better hear from the horse's mouth. But the fact was, he decided he was texting with his attorney. You know, because the attorney said he had court that day. And I don't know what time it was they had to go, but he's saying he was gonna in open court. He was going to demand an affidavit from that, you know, from the court, from the judge, you know, sworn under penalty of perjury, that he granted him power of attorney to administer his estate. You know, that would have shut the whole damn show down if he'd have did that in open court. You know, and he stood on that. He even, you know, he even cited the Cesar KV Act of 1666. You know, the Cesar KV Act, you know, it requires, you know, it basically says that you're, you know, after 7 years, you're presumed dead or missing. And so depending on what state you're talking, they all use the word dead to talk about, to reference your status after 7 years. If you absent yourself or they haven't heard from you, as they call it, after 7 years, and depending on what state you're in, it's different years. But you absent yourself there, you're considered missing, an absentee, and the term also known as incapacity. You know, which is also described as someone who's mentally or physically incapable of managing their own affairs. So you can be alive, like a baby is alive. But a baby is alive, but they're in a state of incapacity too, because they can't manage their own affairs, mentally nor physically. Now that springing power of attorney goes in effect when you're born, and it stays in effect all your life until you rebut it, until you revoke it. Not rebut it, but revoke it. Nobody's heard from you all your life. There's been no record created that counters that revokes that power that they have. So even if you create a power of attorney and you don't revoke what they have, their power of attorney still stays in place because it's never been revoked. You have to revoke any previous powers of attorney. Even when you create a power of attorney, you have to revoke the previous ones. You have to specifically say that in that new power of attorney. Now, that being said, back to his court case. He was his attorney ended up like kind of communicating with the judge some type of way. I think he said it was about way of text or whatever, how they'll communicate. But he said at some point they actually called him and his attorney and the other attorney into the judge's chambers, and they were trying to get him to talk into some other type of deal. Try to get him to, they will try to play that game like they trying to talk you into doing something in the contrary to what you just said. Which is it's a felony by itself because it's swindle, intimidation. Anytime they try to play those mind games after you have rebutted it, you have revoked their power, and they're still trying to find a way to railroad you, that is swindle. Okay, that is you might want to look that term up. Swindle, legal definition. Put it in your Google search. Where they're using any type of intimidation, some type of deceitful actions to try to find a way to get around what you just did. That's swindle. Look that term up. Now, they tried that, but he stood firm on it. He made it very clear. He repeated himself. He wants an affidavit where that shows where he signed it, where you say where I show where I actually signed and I granted you power of attorney to administer my estate on my behalf. He said all this shit. He didn't say shit. He said all this. He say this stuff stops today. Say y'all do what y'all got to do, but I'm standing on what I'm saying. And he was willing to just risk it all. You know what I'm saying? And that's actually what you have to be willing to do. Call their bluff on it, because they'll try to see if they can get you to fold on what you did, back down on what you just said, because they can't go around it. So they got to get you to say something with your mouth verbally, which you can you can contract, or you can agree into something with verbally as well. You can revoke somebody's power of attorney also verbally. So him stating those words, when they got in open court, they finally got in open court. It was in judge's chambers at first. So this is his testimony. At some point they had him back. They finally called him forward in court, in open court. And keep in mind, they had a guardian ad litem in the court case. Guarding over the child. Appointed to deal with the child. The judge released the power of the guardian ad litem. Released them. Get on away from the case. Revoked their power, and he granted the man his child back. And he went to the daycare. That's where he left from that court. According to him, he left that courtroom and went straight to that daycare and picked his kid up. Now keep in mind, his baby mom, his child's mom was with him. They together, they're a couple. They went together and got their kid. So I was pacing around the house happy as hell when I heard that. But I had him to explain that same story to a friend of mine, another one of my partners. His name's Mike. So I can say his name because he's not a part of the testimony. But I'm sure he's watching this video. Mike, comment in the comment section and tell me, because Mike heard the testimony with his own ears. So Mike, if you watching this video, comment in the comment section and confirm what I'm telling these people. Since my buddy don't want to come online, and he don't want to be, he don't want to be online like that. So, but you can confirm that, Mike, in the comment section. Y'all go in the comment section, because he follows me on this. Mike follows me on this channel, and he watches my videos. So I'm sure he'll comment in the comment section. He heard the whole story from the beginning, because I called him last night, and I called the other guy on three-way and let them hear him explain the entire story to my partner, because I wanted him to know, because I'm always on to my fellas when I'm talking privately, to make sure you have some proof when you're saying something. Don't be spewing out, hearsay testimonies. I don't be want to hear people's hearsay testimonies and ain't no proof about what they're saying. So, and Mike was one of the people I would always tell people that to. I would tell that to. And so that's why I felt obligated to call the guy on three-way so that he can hear that story. So he'll know what happened from the horse's mouth, And so the thing is that it's just to help y'all understand how strong, how powerful a power of attorney is. A power of attorney it shakes a whole lot of things in your life, and you have to be willing to take control of your situation with a power of attorney. Make sure it's durable. Make sure you take control of your estate. Keep in mind, it rebuts the presumption of death. It rebuts the presumption of death, and you claiming control over your own estate, and it's in writing. You properly identified yourself when you had it notarized. You know, there is no presumption at that point. There is no presumption that you're missing now. You just came forward, you made your declaration, you properly identified yourself, and you rebutted and you revoked theirs, and you served the people who presume to have who are pretending to have authority over your estate, the ones who are appointed as agents to administer your estate. If you serve them properly with revocations of a power of attorney, or your new power of attorney that revokes theirs, and look in your state statutes and properly do exactly what they tell you to do. If they tell you to record that revocation inside your county recorder's office, you need to record it in the county recorder's office. Because I spoke with another guy today, and he was talking about how they was still trying to railroad him, and they just rejected him. Like, and how did you do it? What kind of power of attorney was it? What was in it? Like, some people don't do shit properly, and they want to say something don't work, you know. And I'm still waiting on him to send me a picture of what his power of attorney looked like. And then also he didn't record it in the county recorder's office as they require him to do. So in his, cause when you record it in the county recorder's office in your state, here in Georgia, it tells you that basically there's evidence and that you actually served them. That's proof. That's prima facie evidence that you served the party that's acting, that's administering your estate. And when you served them properly, now you have proof. That's your evidence. If they're railroading, they're trying to railroad you, now you can use that evidence against them. They're not going to bother you if they know that you can hold them personally liable with them trying to administer your estate after they have been notified that their power have been revoked. So this is something that you got to always keep. Be mindful. Always be willing to look in your state statutes. If you don't want to look in your state statutes, you're doing yourself a disservice. What takes place here in Georgia is not going to be, it may not be the same in your state. You know, there's some states where it's not required to record it in the county recorder's office. And if it's not required to report, to record it in the county recorder's office, it's still, all states that I've read still says you have to serve the party who's presuming to be controlling your estate. All of them, you have to do that. All of them. So anybody that's doing that, and then keep in mind that these different powers can be delegated from agent to agent. Different companies that are controlled by the state, and most of these companies all around here are controlled by the United States. You know, so that's why people have to register their entities with the state. You know what I'm saying? They have to register. So when you're doing business with these different people, you need to be serving them a power of attorney so that you have control of the situation that you got going on. And that's going to connect to the Bill of Exchange Act, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. Just understand the power of a power of attorney. Don't sleep on it. Look in your state statutes and see exactly what these things are doing and how you're able to manage your life a hell of a lot better when you got one put in place where you're controlling your estate. Because you can have it where you appoint somebody else to operate and administer your estate on your behalf, which is what the states are doing. But you can also have one put in place where you controlling your own stuff. You know, you can do that. You know, you can appoint any, because keep in mind, when I have it where I'm appointing my own, you automatically have attorney, power to do that, but you can revoke somebody else's. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, I do that. I do it the way I'm talking about doing it because of the fact that I'm the way I word my power of attorney, I'm actually rebutting the presumption that I'm missing, that I'm incapacitated. You know what I'm saying? That I'm lost at sea, as the SESTA KV Act calls it. I'm none of that. So I make sure I mention that in my power of attorney. That's why I do that. And I speak in my power of attorney as if, like I'm speaking about my estate. This is my estate, and this is how that I'm, what I'm saying? I'm naming all these different things that I'm covering, about the powers that I'm doing, and I'm revoking any other power of attorney that may or may not know about, that could be in place that was done when I was in a state of incapacitation, and this is a brand new power of attorney. and you make sure you serve it to these different entities that you're doing business with. So, especially the courts. You know, when you're doing that, you're rebutting the presumption of debt. You're taking control of your stuff, and you also you're revoking their power of attorney. So they don't have a power. They don't have authority to do that, to administer your estate. That's probably how I ended up getting that notice in a different county, because even the county clerk got my revocation of power of attorney in the other county, in the judges over that's presiding over my case. The county clerk got it. Even probate court got it. They ain't have to get it, but they ain't do them to send it down to the superior court, which is where the county clerk is at, and they filed it into my court case. So, you know, them doing that is probably how I end up getting that notification from the child support agency here in a whole different county, same state but different county. So I served them a revocation. I served them a power of attorney. You know, them and the Georgia Department of Human Resources. And see, I'm gonna follow up on that and find out who actually filled in the application. Who filled in the application for DCSS? Who did that? I'm gonna find out. If baby mama did it, I'm gonna put a charge on her ass. So I'm putting a charge on her ass for identity fraud, because she has been served the verification. So she has no business using that information at all. If you ain't got no proof I injured you, you ain't got no business using that information, because you have no authority to administer my estate. Why are you using that information? You're not to use that information unless somebody injured you. So I'm gonna have to make an example out of by bringing her ass to court for identity fraud. So that's how I'm gonna handle that situation. So because once you've been served and somebody think they like, fuck that nigga, I'm gonna still use his information anyway, then I'm gonna make an example out their ass, and I'm gonna bring their ass to court. I'm gonna see how I'm gonna handle that shit then, because you got no business using that information if you've been served and put on notice that you don't have authority to use that information, and it's identity fraud, identity theft. They use those terms interchangeably depending on what state you're in. Here in Georgia, they call it identity fraud. So you're using the information after you've been put on notice. Now you're gonna have to go and I'm gonna bring the charge against you. Now, see, I have to do these types of things. So sometimes the thing is, y'all have to be willing to make examples out of people. You have to be willing to. You know, I talk to people. You'd be surprised how many people I talk to. They always talk about warning somebody. You know, I'm gonna send them, let them know the warning. Warn them, don't do this here. I'm warning you not to do this. I'm gonna let them know that this here. You know, like, they don't believe you. They don't believe you. You don't do shit. You just warn people. What you gonna do? If I do it, then what? What you gonna do? I've heard people say these things for years. Almost 10 years I've been doing this. I've been hearing people for years, so warning people not to do this, warning people, letting them know that this is this here and this, and they do this here. And if you do this here, now you're going to be held liable. If you do this here, you're going to be held liable. You ain't going to do shit. They don't believe you because you don't do nothing. If you don't do nothing, you might well stop saying it. You know, your words carry no weight when you're constantly threatening people, saying you're going to sue them, or you're going to do this, or you're going to do that. You know, and you have no laws to back up what you're doing. You're not willing to bring nobody to court. You're not willing to put no charge on nobody. You're not willing to do any of that. Then what's the point? What's your point? And even what's your point? See, I said this before. You know, using somebody else's personal information without their consent. That's why it is identity theft. I didn't give you permission to put my estate information on no application. When somebody applies for child support, they're applying for a child support. They putting information on there that don't belong to them. I'm only required to put the name Michael Roseman, the name, the social security number, all that stuff. That's the number. All that information is connected to my estate. Only I'm authorized to use that information. Somebody else using it because they feel like they want to try to bring something to see if they can hurt me using it. I'm gonna hurt them by using it. See, now, especially when you know that the Federal Reserve Act, Part 6, Section 16, Part 1 and 2, it shows you that an affidavit, not an affidavit, but an application is what they use. They securitize those things. They monetize them for Federal Reserve notes. It's a promissory note. So that means they got paid by using that information. How the fuck, who gave you permission to use that and get paid off my information? It's identity fraud. That's a case. And then when you know the law and you start applying this stuff, applying what you learn to these situations. So I'm gonna get at these people who right here in this county, in this city right here, who sent me that notice, and they had a case number to it. So that lets you know that an affidavit has been filed with that information on there. So I have to bring that against them in order to get. I'm gonna have to. See, first I had to answer their notice. Now I'm gonna get at them about that application. Who the fuck gave you that information? Who gave you authority to do that? See, they're not used to fathers doing shit like this. They're not used to guys fighting back. They're not used to us knowing shit about the damn what they're doing on the back end with these applications. I'm gonna show these motherfuckers. Don't put that information on no application if you ain't get my consent to use it. Baby mama probably the only one signed it. I don't know if she did it online. You know, she probably didn't bring her ass up here to do it. She probably did it online because I went on their website and it says it shows where you can actually apply online. So, but its bottom line is the application. If it was done by her, it's her that's gonna catch the charge because she had no business using it, and it's them too because I know they monetized it. It's them too. So I'm gonna get at them. I'm gonna have to get at them because this is. I have to make examples out of people so they're gonna know stop fucking with Michael Roseman, especially when it comes to my motherfucking son. It's already 7 years I ain't seen my son. You think you're gonna keep fucking with me over child support? Watch and see what happens next. M Rose signing out.